You'll pay for what you did to Jean!
Hello and welcome to Part 2 of the Gundam Battle Assault 2 basic guide for both the Zaku II and the Zaku IIS. If you haven't seen Part 1, please do so. The link will be in the description so it'll be easier to find. Part 1, we went over the move list of the Zaku II, some basic combos, differences between Zaku II and Zaku IIS, grenade setups, combos exclusively for Zaku IIS, and in Part 2, we're going to talk about both of the characters. Now, Zaku II is a relatively well-rounded character. He uses shells instead of beams, so characters with beam specials are gonna go through his stuff, so he has that disadvantage. He doesn't really have a lot of ammo, but the machine gun is great tracking. Really good anti-ground if you're in the air. Possibly even good anti-air. Because of just how quickly it tracks. It's not the fastest, but it's pretty fast. The grenades, the crackers, excellent special. Good for mid-screen damage, intercepting approaches, bridging combos. It's awesome. It's a great special. His foot stomp is really useful for just collisions in the air. Going across your opponent and back. His unblockable is... The one thing about his unblockable, it's slow and it's kind of short range, but its range is a little deceptive because it's slightly longer than it looks. I've noticed in the gameplay that I recorded that there's a couple instances where the axe hit the opponent where it looked like it was going to miss. I thought that was kind of interesting. It might not be that big of an advantage, but it might be pretty cool. He's got some pretty damaging combos. It's a little hard to get them off. His Mega Special very damaging, and even if you miss, all those grenades are up there. Really good for just pressure. So, but he can fizzle out. If he loses his special, if he loses his ammo, he's got quite a few less options. And generally speaking, he's got like average speed. So he's relatively an average character. If you're gonna pick Zaku II, just kind of mix up your game, but mostly what you're gonna be doing is going on the assault. And if your assault does not work, if you just get completely blocked, back the fuck off, because you can get punished. That's about all I have to say for Zaku II. Now let's move on to Zaku IIS.
I get it. That's a pretty good strategy.
Zaku IIS is pretty much better than Zaku II. He's significantly faster in terms of his running speed, his jumping speed, and his boost travels farther and goes faster than the rest of the cast. And his backdash is faster and clears the whole screen. So it's extremely useful for keep away and setting yourself up to just projectile spam. Although he only has one projectile, so you know, it'd be more useful if we had another one. Unless you count the grenades, but that's more of a mid-range move. One of the disadvantages, besides having slightly less health, is his really fast boost makes it more difficult to use his down circle to stomp in the air, and that's a really useful move when you're playing Zaku. And you can still kind of use it just by running and jumping because of how fast he is, but it's not the same as boosting. With Zaku IIS though, running in after a successfully landed grenade is a lot more useful as Zaku II. And you actually have more opportunities to use the rising shoulder tackle. And from the rising shoulder tackle, you actually have like an easier time comboing because of how fast he is, and his links are better generally. Like he just has more of them, and it flows easier. So there's more ways to rack up damage with Zaku IIS than there is Zaku II. Like with Zaku II, his highest way of racking up damage is comboing into a super. But with Zaku IIS, you can combo a whole bunch of things into different things. You can use the rising tackle to combo into grenades, and to combo into this and that. There's just a lot you can do. And there's also the grenade setups. There's a lot more than what I showed you in part 1. And some of them you can do with Zaku II, like regular. But Zaku IIS, because he's faster, has more opportunities for combo damage. And it's easier for him to escape situations if your approach just failed miserably and your opponent's blocked everything. So generally, if you're going to be competitive about this game, like and play at like an intermediate level, and you want to learn Zaku, probably gonna want to learn Zaku IIS. If you just like the appeal of the green Zaku, the Xeon mobile suit, then go for it by all means. Because Zaku II certainly is not the worst character in the game. That would go to Ball. We've discussed this. And that's about it. For Zaku IIS, just, play him relatively the same way as Zaku II, but you'll have more opportunities to combo from grenades, from the shoulder tackle, from certain situations. So just look at what I did in part 1 and look at this gameplay and just observe some of the stuff that you can do, and then just look for those situations when you're playing, and then you be the judge. Careful conserving your ammo, and you're really gonna probably end up using both the light and the heavy versions because they're equally useful, because of the tracking and because of the huge damage the heavy version does. And the unblockable, I don't think it's faster with Zaku IIS, but it's still like that deceptive range is really cool. So that's all I have to say for both Zaku II and Zaku IIS. So next guide, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe you could leave a comment and tell me which mobile suit you'd like to see me do next.